Fun.
Spicy.
So original.
Very jazzy. We will switch it up one day. Hello, welcome to Humble Brags and Shopping Bags. We have a very special episode today. This episode is sponsored by Klaviyo, which is an intelligent marketing automation platform, which we will dive into more very soon. We have the lovely Kat from Klaviyo joining us today and Airi from Ksubi, which is the first time we've had two different representatives from different companies.
I know.
Which
is
exciting.
It's amazing. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
'Cause I mean, like, you know, working at Shopify, Klaviyo, Shopify are like, they just go
Two
hand
peas in a
hand,
pod.
right? So
Exactly.
I
Avalon
love
toast.
Yes.
Brother and
Avalon-
sister.
Exactly.
Avalon
Salt and
toast,
pepper.
yes.
So
Salt and
good.
pepper.
Milk and honey. What other combinations can we
my
come
goodness.
up?
It is.
Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
You almost just can't use the two without each other, really. So I'm pumped the fact that we can dive a little bit deeper into the platform, but also have you, Ari, here to talk about, I guess, your experience, given that you have had such a long and fruitful career in the e-commerce industry.
Yeah,
Like,
which
you know
Klaviyo has been a very big part of.
Yeah,
me,
exactly.
so-
Like, you know your shit. So we can jump right in and kind of, you know, dig a little bit deeper.
Absolutely.
But I think to kick off, going on that track, both of you have had very different careers, very different experiences within the e-commerce space. Ari, let's start. Give us the download on what you've been doing, what you've been up to, because I think, you know, you are an e-commerce expert, regardless of, you know, where you're at now. And I
Yeah.
think that will set the scene in terms of what we'll talk about next.
Yeah, sure. I'll do a little history lesson. So I've been in the industry for about 12 years now and started out my career over in New Zealand, which is where I'm from, working at Glassons. So I started at Glassons as an e-commerce coordinator, a little baby. And I spent about 5 years there working across Glassons and their other brand, Hellenstein's, which is the men's version. And that was kind of where I initially developed the passion for e-commerce. But I actually ended up leaving Glassons at the end of that 5-year period and going agency side. So I spent a few years as head of digital at an advertising agency in New Zealand called True. We had a couple of bigger clients like Air New Zealand, Uber, ASB Bank, which is the Commonwealth Bank equivalent in New Zealand. So that was great for me to just kind of step out of that e-commerce space and really get into the technology side of things. So we were doing a lot of work around, you know, CRM, paid media, and really bringing all of the advertising campaigns to life for those clients across all of their channels. I then ended up going to McDonald's where I spent 3 years selling
different.
Probably,
burgers.
but you
Yeah.
know what though? Like, I've heard that best training comes from McDonald's.
It's
And
pretty
you see so
pretty
much.
incredible. We actually used to do this thing as a corporate team called Back to Restaurant Day. So once a quarter, we'd all have to go into the store and actually spend a day in the restaurant with the teams. And that would kind of help us look at how they were using the technology, how customers were engaging with the technology. So that was just an amazing experience leading CRM, having a big part to play in the paid media strategy, and really owning the amplification of the app, which was still quite new to the Australian market when I started. I ended up missing fashion and e-commerce like I knew that I would. So then circled back, did about a year at the Upside before moving across to Bellini, and now I'm at Ksubi as GM of online. So it's been a really interesting 12 years. I think for me, I've never lost the passion. And I just love being a part of such an amazing ecosystem of partners and platforms. I think we're so lucky in Australia to kind of have that closeness. Everyone works together. It's friendly competition. And we just have such an incredible partners network to rely upon. So, you know, that's a huge part of the success that we've seen across the last few years across all of those businesses has been those relationships that we've built and the technology that we've been able to bring into the business. So Klaviyo has been a huge part of that. It's been on that e-commerce journey with me across every business, and it's been fantastic just seeing it evolve and develop. And you know, what I love about Klaviyo the most is that whenever I need something from them, it's never a no. It's a that's on the roadmap, or how can we work together to get there. So they're just a great partner for us all around. So we absolutely love the product and the team.
Amazing. So good. I think it's so awesome that you have a very vast background and experience, you know, agency side and then McDonald's and brand and fashion. It definitely makes you an amazing marketer.
It's an interesting mix.
Yeah, totally. Makes you a lot better at what you do because you've seen it all. And also love the relationship that you have with your tech providers. Like you said, it's an awesome community in Australia.
Yeah, we're so lucky.
Yeah. And I think it's testament to even having you on this podcast, being able to represent Klaviyo is very cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Kat, tell us about your background and your journey.
Yeah, awesome. So, I'm Kat from Klaviyo, and I've been with Klaviyo for about 9 months. So Airi definitely has all the skill and experience over me.
Yeah.
But so I guess prior to that, if we look back in time, thank you. I actually started out in outdoor advertising in media sales. So I was always working with brands, but for outdoor campaigns. So like on billboards, bus ads, airport ads, all that fun stuff. So always working with brands sort of on that awareness sort of level. And I loved it. It was awesome. But then COVID happened, and then obviously billboards, bus ads, no one was spending in that sort of industry anymore. And I was like, this is a really good opportunity for me to pivot. Industries like e-commerce and technology were obviously going to be taking off at that time. And it was just a good time and moment for me just to pivot. And that's when I entered the tech world. And I worked for different brands in the tech industry. So Twilio was one of them, with SMS primarily there, as well as HubSpot for a bit before coming to Klaviyo. But
Nice.
I guess what I love is that Klaviyo is very similar to the media days, working with brands, helping the strategy, understanding, and you know, how can we make more people aware of the brands and get people through that way. So I really love that full circle moment that I've had in my career.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
And great experience with SMS and email. And I think most of our listeners will know Klaviyo as an email marketing platform.
Yeah, that's right.
But it is a lot more. Can you just quickly tell us what the solutions within the Klaviyo platform are now?
Yeah, definitely. So really, I guess the honeypot of Klaviyo is that customer data that we have and that we empower brands with their own data there. And email is just a channel that we use to communicate with, end consumers, and SMS is another channel. But yeah, the honeypot and the gold is really that customer data. And the evolution of Klaviyo is really tapping into that again. And what can we do, and how can we better learn more about customers to communicate with them, to be more relevant, but use that really as the core and the base.
Yeah. Awesome.
Makes a lot of sense given that you're so well integrated with Shopify.
Yeah.
It's pretty much two-way. I actually don't think you can have better integrated products than Klaviyo and Shopify. So the data piece makes a lot of sense because ultimately Shopify is your source of truth, but in terms of creating actionable insights from the data, that's where Klaviyo becomes really important because let's be real, what brands want is more sales.
Yeah.
No, you'll probably
Can't deny it.
You can't deny it. That's what you want. But to be able to understand how to grow, you need the data to be able to support that.
Absolutely. It's so important. I always say that marketing without the data is kind of like driving with your eyes closed. I say that to my team very regularly, and it's something that I live by. There's no point in going out and putting something in front of your customer unless you have the data to support that that's what they need, right place, right time. It's such a simple concept, but I feel like we can lose sight of that when we don't have that visibility of the data, that easy access. And I think for us, that's why we love Klaviyo so much, because it is so user-friendly. The data and insights are there and very accessible. It's been amazing to see how the reporting capability has evolved over the last few years. I had a demo with the guys of the new CDP product the other week. I am a huge fan of CDPs. I think they're just such an integral piece of the MarTech stack. So it's awesome to see that you guys are on that journey. I remember going into the Klaviyo offices must have been earlier this year, and James was like, I've got a little secret. We may be launching soon with a CDP. And I was like, this is just so exciting. I think, back to my time at The Upside, this was about 4 years ago, and we were working across Lexa and Klaviyo, and it was such early days. I feel like we were really pushing both platforms to the brink, just trying to get some pretty amazing customer journeys and flows set up, and we were kind of on calls with the solutions team on the other side of the world, trying to figure out the best way to create that automated flow of our segments from Lexa into Klaviyo, updating those profile properties at the right time, and to see that all kind of brought into the single ecosystem now, it just makes so much sense. So it's really exciting to see.
CDPs, it's a very interesting topic, and I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what it is, what it does. There's a lot of tech companies that claim to be CDPs.
100%.
Could you, I think maybe, and it's a customer data platform for someone who doesn't know what the acronym is who is listening. Could you break it down for us, and also from your perspective, from a brand's perspective, from a GM's perspective, what is the CDP and what value does it hold within your marketing tech stack?
So I kind of see the CDP as the heart and soul and what drives all of our marketing decision making. So the most important thing with a CDP is obviously to have that data hygiene there. The majority of the time, the CDP will be ingesting data directly from your ERP platform, or from a combination of your ERP, Shopify, you might have that data sitting in an external data lake, but it's going to be all ingested into that CDP, and that will be where you actually pull the insights out of that data. So I think we still see a lot of businesses today who have all of the data there, but it's just not accessible. So there's nothing more frustrating than, having a question about your customer base, being asked a question about your customer, from the likes of a board member, and going, well, we have that data, but we actually can't turn it into insights, let alone actionable insights. So for me, the CDP is the way that we take that data and then transform it into actionable insights. And I think that all really comes down to the segmentation component. So it's so important, particularly as a retailer that has stores. At Ksubi, now we have 4 stores in the States. We've got one on Carnaby Street in London, and we're actually due to open a couple in Sydney and Melbourne next year, which we're really excited about. And that's where a CDP becomes even more important, because if you have those online, offline shoppers, all of a sudden you have online and offline transaction level data. If you can't bring that together to create that single view of customer, none of your journeys and communications are going to be 100% relevant. You might have a customer that goes into store and makes a purchase. If you don't have visibility of that from an online perspective, you can't then be accurate with your flows and journeys. So, there's nothing worse as a customer than getting something that's irrelevant or sent at the wrong time. And so, you would be very easily ending up in a situation where you're sending a win-back email, giving a discount, whatever that might be, we've missed you, come back, and that customer's actually been into store last week and made a purchase. So it's really, really easy to get it wrong when you don't have that true single view of customer. And I think it's pretty much impossible to get that these days without a CDP. I think if you're pure play, there are ways to work around it. And you can kind of utilize the likes of Klaviyo to do a lot of that segmentation. But there's no way right now to consolidate that online, offline transaction level data in a meaningful way without something like a CDP in your stack.
Yeah, interesting. So in terms of using Klaviyo in order to further personalize the journey, and I know a lot of our listeners are pure play, and Kat, you could probably step in here. What are some of the features, or if you want to go more specifically into campaigns, that really aids that segmentation and that personalization, being able to have the one-to-one communication with customers and getting to know the data better?
Yeah, so I think for us, it really comes down to flows, and obviously those flows are all built off the back of your segmentation. So, the most important thing coming into a business for me is to actually dig down into the data, and you can do that in Klaviyo. And the way that I normally look at it is, okay, as a starting point, how many first-time customers do we have that are sitting in that one purchase bucket? How many are sitting in 2 purchases, 3, 4, and then I'll normally do 5 plus. And then that will really quickly give you a good indication of where your customers are sitting and therefore what you might need to do to move the needle. So if you have a lot of customers that have not made a second purchase, that's a pretty obvious sign that potentially that was not such a great experience for them. So, let's look at where we were kind of falling short there. And I think, again, you can rely on Klaviyo to send out those surveys and actually dig down to be a bit more granular. But off the back of that segmentation, you can then build out your journeys. So the journeys that I'll normally look to set up initially would be just that standard onboarding journey, which will then go into what I normally refer to as an activation flow. So that's tasked with moving those prospects who have been onboarded into your database. They've been given a bit more information about your brand into actually activating to be a customer. So having them all automated in Klaviyo, it's just so easy to set up now. And, I hate the word set and forget because we constantly want to be optimizing. But if you're a lazy marketer, that could very realistically be set and forget. Yeah. What we also like to set up in Klaviyo is then a bit of an onboarding piece. So once we've activated that prospect, they'll then go into an onboarding journey, which is tasked with making that second purchase. We can see really easily in Klaviyo the general time frame that it takes for most of our customers to make that second purchase. So we'll normally, and it's very different across different businesses. What I would see at the Upside versus Bellini versus now at Ksubi is a real difference in those purchase timeframes and windows. So anything from 30 days to 90 days. So it's important that it's data driven there. And again, we rely on Klaviyo for that information. And then, of course, we have our retention journeys and then our lapse. So that's an at-risk customer who we might need to show a bit of love and bring into the fold. And then we have our win-back. So that's a customer that's fallen off the radar. They might not have shopped with us for over a year. And at that point, we go, okay, was that a high-value customer? So we can see in Klaviyo and go, okay, customers who haven't shopped in the past year but had purchased more than twice or had spent X amount plus, and that will then determine how hard we go when we're trying to win that customer back. So it's not one size fits all. And I think, we have the data sitting in there plus the technology to activate it. And, there's no reason that anyone can't jump into Klaviyo and set up that really basic flow structure. And then once you've done that, there's so much more opportunity to get more granular. You can serve up your personalized product recommendations. There's now an integration with SearchSpring, so you can actually serve up the personalized recs that align with what you're showing the customer on site. So the possibilities are endless. My team are definitely kept very busy with the CRM piece at the moment, but it's amazing to see them so excited and passionate about what they're doing in Klaviyo. I think, we just recently set up at Ksubi back in stock flows, price drop flows, and just the excitement from the team when they start to see the revenue rolling in from all the hard work. Wow. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like Christmas.
Yeah. And the easy thing, you just have to create that flow and set and forget, but it's just kind of constantly working on the background for you.
Exactly. And it's so nice to be able to do all of that heavy lifting at the start. And then from a maintenance perspective, we use evergreen imagery for all of our flows at the moment, so we don't have to update it too frequently. But seasonally, we'll always do an update, so it feels nice and fresh. But the great thing with those flows, right, is people drop in upon entry to your database, and then it's kind of a cycle where, they're going to continue getting the right communication as they move through, and it's completely personalized to them based on where they're at with their individual journey with Ksubi. So that will completely determine the experience that they receive.
And do you use SMS?
We do.
Yeah.
So I love SMS. I miss the McDonald's days when I had an app and could send a push notification. Nothing brings in the sales like a sneaky little push notification. So I've definitely been missing that across the past few years being back in fashion retail, where I think I always say with apps, because people are always like, oh, you're going to get an app at this business or, X, Y, Z. There has to be a real reason aside from just shopping to actually have an app. So, whether it's a content piece or something that you can give the customer within that platform only, you've got to give them something back for that piece of real estate in their pocket. So I think, for a lot of fashion brands, it's not quite right. For some, it works incredibly well, but it's also a big investment. So obviously for us not having an app, we do love a good SMS. It's really interesting at Ksubi just to see the difference in response rates to SMS across Australia versus the States. So at Ksubi, we're really lucky to have a huge presence in the States, and SMS is not only cheaper there, but it's always a lot better received. So we sent out our first SMS probably just over 6 months ago at Ksubi. I think I'd been there for about 3 months, and we were kind of just setting up journeys and some initial flows and things, and we thought, we need to get in some SMS. So we send out SMS pretty sparingly. We really want to save it for the moments that we need it, or make sure that it's personalized. So sitting within our flows, if we have a price drop send going out, we might do an SMS to complement that. But on big days like Black Friday and Cyber Monday, we will always send to the States because we just get such a crazy response rate there.
Why do you think that is?
I know. It's so interesting. I think they're just a lot more receptive to the channel over there. I think potentially it's a bit more normalised for them. I know Australians can find it a little bit more spammy sometimes. So we really tread with caution in this market. Obviously, it's more expensive. It delivers less, and we get a lot more bang for our buck over in the States.
Have you used MMS in the States?
No, it's too expensive.
Yeah. I've seen some pricing. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
But I have gotten some amazing MMS messages where I'm like, that is creative.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And I think particularly on occasions like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, where most people are receiving, 50 to 100 emails and texts across the month, I think things like MMS can really help to cut through the noise. One thing that we do in Klaviyo quite often over these periods, because we know the inboxes are so packed, is we'll do an additional send a day later to all customers that missed the first send. So we'll just create a segment off the back of that initial audience, customers that didn't open, just to give us that second opportunity to hit those customers that missed it the first time around.
You know what's been the worst thing for me, and I hope I don't think you do this because I don't think it's a Klaviyo functionality, but where you receive a SMS and I'm like, I want to unsubscribe from this.
Yeah.
And then they say to unsubscribe.
Reply.
No, not reply. Text a different number.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not
so
going to go
cheeky.
and copy and paste, put it in my message. Just to
say
how
stop.
dare you make this hard for
I
me?
know.
Yeah.
It's appalling. It's appalling. Well, I've actually received them before where they don't have an unsubscribe, and I'm like,
You're
like,
that's
this is
one
not-
way to keep your unsubscribes
Yeah,
down,
exactly.
but I'm not sure if it's legal.
No.
Yeah.
I just want to touch on something you said before about no one size fits all, because you have been you've obviously been in the technology space and e-commerce space, but if we're looking at just fashion, you've obviously been working with shoes, now clothing and apparel. Let's go deeper into that comment of no one size fits all, because I think that's an important point to touch on, directly relevant to the application of tools such as Klaviyo.
Yeah.
So let's go deeper into that. There was no question.
Where's she going with this? Where's she going?
I'm trying to find my train of thought.
Yeah. Just go deeper, Airi.
Right,
Just
see what I can do.
because the thing is, right, and this is where I want to learn. This is why I'm asking these questions, because if I'm shopping for shoes, how is my mentality and what I'm wanting different if I'm shopping for a pair of jeans?
And I think it's not even just across different product categories that we see that change in buyer behavior. It's also across what they're actually purchasing that product for at that point in time. So you might see a customer's behavior across two different types of shoe vary greatly. So for example, at Bellini, we had a lot of girls who would come to us for their everyday workwear heels, and that purchase frequency, would be every 6 months or so. But then on top of that, they would also be coming to purchase those fashion styles. And so the purchase frequency against those fashion styles, where we've got new pieces coming out, every few months, she wants to stay on trend and, have the latest look when she's going out. She wants something that's going to go with a different outfit for a different event. So the purchase frequency is increased. So I think, it's so important to pay attention to, I guess, that digital body language, and then obviously curate your journeys around that, and make sure that the communication is on point for, where she's at, what she's purchasing, and, that moment or life event that she's purchasing for. I think using the footwear example again, we might have a flow set up for that footwear purchase where we know she's coming in every 6 months or so to refresh that work pump, but then we would keep her receiving those weekly sends that are more about those fashion styles because we know that she's interested and engaged in seeing what's new, but we would have that secondary flow running in the background reminding her that she needs to come back and buy those work pumps.
She understood the assignment. She
went
went
deeper.
deeper.
She went deeper. She understood. Like that makes so much. That makes so much
I
sense.
jumped in.
Was it digital? Did you say digital
Body language.
Digital body language.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love that.
I know.
That is. I'm using that.
That's
in
a
my
thing
LinkedIn
now.
post.
That's definitely a
digital
thing.
body language. Can we just coin that?
That's going to be the headline of one of our
Should I
short
go
clips.
deeper?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm referencing the digital body language. That
Yeah.
is, what a term.
Yeah, I think, it all comes down to those cues, and I think our customers give us a lot more than we think sometimes. So, it's up to us to kind of pick up on all of those bits and pieces in the same way that we would, here we're sitting in front of each other, we can kind of sense the mood and gauge where we're going with things. And, you'd be surprised when you look closely how much we can get from that online experience and interaction with the customer as well.
Again.
DBL. Digital
Body
body
DBL.
language.
Oh my God, that's Shall we get tea?
Yes. Anyway, I want to talk about Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We may reference it here as BFCM, but I know that not everyone knows the acronym. It's been a good one this year.
And
It
just so for our listeners know, it is the 1st of December today because we're probably going to release
God.
this in like a month.
Yeah.
So we're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are in the thick of it. Like Ari is tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't slept.
Yeah.
Ari hasn't slept.
Sweatpants, guys.
Yeah, like this is and maybe even just for context and background, give us a bit more around why Black Friday, Cyber Monday is so important for retailers in particular.
I think it's always the biggest month of the year, and it started out about 10 years ago being the biggest day of the year, and then it became the biggest week of the year, and now it's the biggest month of the
Yeah.
year. So
Just keeps on extending out.
I don't think
Seriously.
I
It's
can
like
cope
my
with much
birthday.
more.
Yeah,
Birthday, birth
Birth
week,
week,
birth
exactly.
month.
So I think, we've all kind of jumped on that bandwagon as retailers. We've all kind of pressured each other into extending that time frame. And, across the past 4 years, every single time it rolls around, I end up in a room, with my CEO having a conversation around, do we stick to our guns and wait to drop? Or do we jump on that bandwagon? And I think, you really risk leaving it too late. We know that our customers only have a fixed amount of spend across that period. And if you leave it too late, unfortunately, you miss out on, that share that could have gone to you. I think customers and brands are starting to drop and shop. so early in November. So there's definitely a lot of pressure on retailers to continue on with that. But I'm just hoping that we can all commit to keeping it within the confines of November.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not get too crazy.
We had an amazing year. This year for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. We kind of held out a little bit longer than some retailers. And it's pretty tough, I think, when you are holding out and you're still paying to show up against competitors. For us at Ksubi, we obviously have a big wholesale presence across Australia and the States too. So the cost per click goes up significantly from a paid media perspective. It's obviously very much pay to play as it is all year round now when it comes to Google particularly. So, you've got to be in it to win it. And even if you are paying to show up in that spot, the customer's not just seeing your product and your offering, they're seeing a whole range throughout that Google shopping grid. And so you've got to make sure that the product's compelling and the price is compelling to get them across the line for that period. I think, it's such a big month of the year because of the weight that it brings in comparative to your overall yearly budget weightings. So, a lot of retailers always say that month is kind of make or break for them. And I think, we put a huge amount of pressure on ourselves and on our teams to really get the most out of that time period, and also just make sure that we continue giving our customers the best possible experience. I think we get so caught up in the trade side of things across that month, but we also still have fulfillment and dispatch timelines to stick to, and so it's all on across November. I feel like I definitely need to. I actually booked my digital marketing manager in for a facial on Saturday.
That's nice of you.
We need to relax.
You need to get one for yourself too.
You're like, yes.
Have you ever worked for any brand or in the past where the sales period didn't work? Because, I talk to a lot of brands and they say it's the best period, we hit our target, we exceeded. Has it ever not worked?
Not for me. I think, brands like The Upside, Bellini and Ksubi, they're all brands where, Ksubi is very premium from a positioning perspective, and it is quite rare that we do go on sale. So our customers get really excited about that month, and, it's great for them to see that amazing product. And, for a lot of customers as well that, the standard retail price might be a little bit too expensive for them. It's an opportunity for them to kind of get on board and get their piece of Ksubi. I think at Bellini and The Upside, with The Upside, it was very similar where it was very rare for us to be on sale. So those moments throughout the year, because they're not saturated, are really exciting for the customer, and I feel like they go, well, it's now or never, because, particularly at The Upside, they knew it wasn't going to happen again until the following year. At Bellini, it was a little bit different because, we were at a lower price point at the standard RRP, and we never really did site-wide discounting, but we still saw a great response. I think girls just love a sale.
They do. They really do. Girl math.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Lean
yeah,
into
yeah.
that girl math for sure.
Exactly. Kat, from your perspective, obviously this is probably your first BFCM with Klaviyo.
That's right.
But you have experience as a customer success manager elsewhere. How have you seen it go for your customers and clients this year? I know there was a lot of talk about the economy and maybe shopping behaviors changing. How have you seen it from your perspective?
Yeah, to be honest, this year really had like crazy results across the world. Like I've got some big stats here for you. Yes. All right. So we generated 11.6 million messages per minute during the peak time globally. I love that.
You earned it.
Awesome. You're like, I've been wanting to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
But that also meant more importantly for brands like Ksubi, we generated nearly 60 million of Klaviyo attributed revenue per hour during that peak time. So a lot of brands really went gung-ho and had a lot of return on revenue.
Yeah. So so let's break that down for a second in terms of attribution of revenue. That is revenue that was generated based on activities that were prompted from Klaviyo.
That's right. Yeah. So whether they've clicked an email, clicked an SMS, so any of their own channel. Yeah, basically.
I think own channels are just so important across that period as well. It's the highest CPC that you'll see
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
year. So I
totally.
think that's why, for us particularly, we really try and get those customers through CRM if we can, and keep a lot of that paid spend for the top of funnel activity, so that we can really drive an incremental value from those paid channels, and the database comes in via own. So it just creates a lot more efficiency around your media spend, and we're really fortunate that we can create those audience segments in Klaviyo and use them to build holdout groups as well, so that we're really getting the most from our media spend.
Yeah. This is, and I think people are talking about it more now, but it's still something we don't talk about it enough, which is you need to think about the way you retain your customers, because that is where you're most profitable.
100%.
And understanding your numbers, making sure that you as a business is lean and thinking about sustainable growth, knowing what to do during periods of time like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, where you won't only just have revenue growth, but you can also then, number one, build your subscriber base, build the number of people or eyeballs on your site. But then as soon as you capture them, go and use that data for next year's Black Friday,
100%.
Cyber Monday, when you can start to think about putting them in a flow or a segment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're
planning
sitting on
ahead.
like a data minefield at the moment, just after Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Yeah.
And we found actually 47% of purchases made on Black Friday, Cyber Monday were from repeat purchases of the brand. So it just goes to show that retention's super important.
Yeah.
And then now that you've got all this data, who are the people who are recent to the company? What can we do to use predictive analytics? When should they purchase next?
Really nurture them on that journey.
Yeah, 100%. And like there's so much rich data available right now that brands need to, take this opportunity and develop strategies so they become, repeat customers, get them into that 5+ category as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's also really interesting to look at who didn't shop across that month, because, we get so excited about those sale customers and the volume there, but I find it really interesting to see as well, who is a regular customer that didn't really get amongst the sale, and what we've been doing recently at Ksubi is actually holding them out of some sale periods and speaking to them about full price, because we know, they're not that price conscious customer. They want to be hearing about new product. We have a whole month across November where we're just talking about sale predominantly. So it's really nice to kind of give them a bit of breathing space if we know that they haven't engaged with sale messaging a lot in the past. So we've done a lot of segmentation in Klaviyo, and I've done this across quite a few businesses now, where we kind of split out the database into those who are full price shoppers, those who like a combination of both, and those who are just purchasing sale and coming in across those periods. So it's just another angle that you can take and be more relevant to that customer and what they're interested in, their price sensitivity, and obviously looking at their recency and frequency and overlaying that on top of it as well.
That's a good point.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I've actually never, and we do these types of conversations all the time, I've never heard somebody talk about the way in which they look at what their customer preferences were. So they don't want to engage in a sale.
Yeah.
How are we going to communicate with them, as opposed to trying to force them into a sale?
Yeah.
We don't talk about that enough, because I must, like, don't get me wrong, I get around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, like I love it, but I also think this whole push for discounting, cost cuts, must be X percentage off. Like, is that actually, is that good? I'm not sure. Like that's
and I think you're training that customer behavior as well. If the customer's not actually that interested and they're happy to purchase at full price, why are we smashing them with sale messaging? It's not necessary, and I think it can often do more damage than good to that relationship and the value that they place on your brand.
Yeah. But like you said, it's pressure from other retailers, because if everyone's doing it, like, you're going to miss out on that customer because your competitors are on sale.
But this is where, again, like Ari said, if you're targeting a specific customer that is leaning into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and has more propensity to purchase, and even if they're first-time purchaser or maybe just an irregular purchaser because they're wanting to hold out for a sale, then great. But you're making sure you're not diluting your customer base with pushing people into buying something on sale when they don't want
Yeah.
to. I think it's really healthy, and I think it's a healthy conversation for us to
And
have.
you can also apply that same logic to your paid media campaigns as well. So, we can obviously segment the database, feed that through to our paid channels, and have visibility there as well of what we want to be targeting them with. So I think, again, it comes back to that comment about it's not one size fits all. And, we're so lucky now compared to where we were as an industry, 10, 12 years ago. We really have no excuse because we've got all the tech, we've got all the partner support, we've got an amazing ecosystem. So it's kind of up to us to just use that in the best way possible and provide the best customer experience.
Totally. And that's kind of where loyalty comes into play as well.
Yep.
The benefit of a loyalty program is that you're able to segment those types of customers and give them additional benefits that's not just discounts. So that's an important piece of that puzzle.
Yeah.
Kat, I'd also love to hear from you. Obviously, you work really closely with your customers. What is that relationship like? How do you help your customers succeed? And what are some of the key features of Klaviyo that really enable e-commerce businesses to thrive and do everything that Airi is talking about?
Yeah, so I guess we entered in Australia about over a year ago in like the Australian market. And so like having conversations with people like Airi, face to face or even over Zoom or at an event is a really good opportunity for us to learn what's happening with the brands and like finding out what their goals and challenges are. So then we can help adapt and like further on with the platform. And I guess, where we can help brands and e-commerce take it to the next level is Klaviyo is really built for marketers. I'm not a super technical person, and it's what can we do to make it really simple for everybody to activate really easily. So we've got pre-built flows in there already that people, if they've never used Klaviyo before, we can just create that from their own. And there's just a lot of resources as well. Like we next year we're starting customer education in market. So like people can then learn a bit more about how, they're starting off with Klaviyo. How can we better learn how to build the segments? Ari's got great experience, but not everybody's at that stage. And what can we do to help other brands develop their own strategies and come and think about ways, who are their customers? How do they need to speak to them? What relationships do they need to build and build it out that way?
Yeah.
You guys have always been so receptive to that customer feedback. I feel like everything that we've kind of wanted across the past 3 or 4 years has always been, in some way incorporated into the roadmap. Like I love going in for a catch up with the team at Klaviyo and, we're not just talking about how to get the most out of Klaviyo, but we're talking about the entire CRM stack. So how can we get more out of the relationship between Klaviyo and the CDP, or what does that longer term roadmap look like with SearchSpring? Something that I'm really pushing for at the moment. I would love to be able to at some point ingest my offline transaction level data from our stores directly into the platform, because I think that's a really difficult thing for a lot of online offline retailers to achieve right now. So I'm really excited to see where we get to over the next few years, and that's such an exciting roadmap that you guys have on the card. So we can't wait to be a part of it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, well, I guess our CEO is a builder, so we built the platform from the ground up. So I guess that's where like we're always open to feedback. What do you want? What do you find valuable? As you said, those integrations are a big part of it. So our big job is what other integrations would be suitable for other brands and what is, on trend. So for example, have just released an integration with MindBody. So looking more into that wellness fitness space, they as well need a CRM type solution. And we're kind of like listening for what people need and then, have the ability and flexibility to adapt and change moving forward.
Yeah. This is the great thing about product-led companies that are also founder-led. They're very passionate about their product, it's their baby, and they just want to make sure that it is the best experience possible. So it's really refreshing, I think, that we, all work for founder-led companies here and product-led companies. Just still on the topic of BFCM, because I think this is going back to what you're just talking about in terms of education. Airi, if there was a e-commerce manager or a brand that potentially maybe didn't have a good year or is just thinking about how do we optimize or really build a strong Black Friday, Cyber Monday strategy, what would be your top tips?
I think start planning early. It rolls around so quickly, and a lot of the work needs to be done in advance, because at the end of the day, you are going to be so focused on trading across that month. You're not going to have time to be doing things on the fly. I say that we definitely did a lot on the fly this year, but you really want to be freed up to focus on the trade and make those tweaks and optimizations, but essentially have that full comms plan in place well in advance. So we were having planning meetings as a team and with our agency partners months and months out. I think, I always start earlier and earlier every year because it never feels like it's quite early enough. But I think having a really good plan in place across email, SMS, and then making sure that you've actually set that plan down against your paid media strategy and made sure that everything's kind of working holistically, complementing each other. We will quite often put our email send time at a different time to our SMS. So we might get them with an email in the morning. Maybe they saw it and then forgot to shop. So we'll then send an SMS in the evening. So making sure that you have that scheduled out day by day. Our team will normally have everything set up well in advance. It just means that we're really free to just focus on what we need to do day to day. I think another great thing about starting your planning early is you should really be building your database and going hard with your lead gen in the months prior. Again, the cost per click during Black Friday and November is so high, it gets higher every year. So the more that you can do in advance of that to build your database, while media spend is going to go further, you're bringing those prospects into the database, making sure it's looking nice and healthy, they're fresh, they're engaged. We've given them a bit of a warm up with some brand pieces throughout their onboarding journey, and then they're ready to go and contactable via ideally SMS and email when we hit that peak period. So I think, that would be probably my biggest tips, is just plan early, make sure you've got the right channel mix and your channels are working as hard as possible for you. And where possible, really try and rely on that owned media, because paid is very pricey.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so everybody, I think advice from their takeaway, we look at your sign-up forms, collect the email, collect your SMS. That's something that you can already start now. Yeah. And just, as you said, kind of build it up.
Yeah, we always go a bit harder with our lead gen budgets in the months prior, because we know, that's kind of the final opportunity to get them in. If we haven't got them in the database by launch, we're going to be paying to get in front of them across.
Do you incentivize
channels.
it? Like to collect SMS subscribers?
I have incentivized it across various businesses, and the cost per lead varies so much across different businesses as well, but I do find we get a lot more traction with an incentive. So a lot of businesses already have a welcome discount to kind of warm customers up for that first purchase. So if you already have that welcome discount, you can use that as your incentive to sign up to the database, because they're going to get that triggered send anyway. So it can kind of fit into that existing ecosystem, and the customer still feels like they're getting a little something in return. And then I guess back to Black Friday advice, I would just say stress test your stack and then do it again 3 times, because Black Friday is the time where your team is not just under pressure, but so is your technology ecosystem. Your partners and vendors are getting screamed at from all angles. You're not the only client. So if you can really make sure that you've done all of that testing and you're really happy that everything's going to work as expected, it's just another thing that won't surprise you during the period and distract you from trade. If something's going to break, it's always going to happen in November. You get the biggest traffic volume for most brands than any other month of the year. And it's also the time that your devs and partners are most busy as well.
I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was kind of going a bit viral on LinkedIn about having a queue. it's like, oh, you've got 1 hour and 13 minutes before you can enter the site, and you can only be on site for 10 minutes. And it's like,
What?
whoa, man.
That would be so much pressure. Oh my gosh.
You'd be like stressing.
Yeah.
I would
Not okay.
definitely panic by though.
Yeah.
So it could work out for the better.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go to the next segment. But before we do, I just wanted to give you, Kat, the opportunity to tell us anything exciting that's on the horizon for Klaviyo.
Yeah, well, we've been mentioning it before. CDP is our newest shiny toy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the reason why we built it, a lot of customers were using Klaviyo as a CDP-like product anyways. There's a lot of data in there, but it was just not really easy to see the reportings and take action, as sort of what as Ari's been saying. So we've kind of had this turnkey moment where we can turn it on CDP and give customers an access to who are their customers and just help them prioritize where their attention needs to be, because you know, there's so many things everyone needs to do all the time, but this can help really, like, you know, we need to focus on people, these particular types of customers, like what can we do to focus in on them. So we've got CDP, which is just launched
Very
a couple
exciting.
months ago.
Yeah.
So this is definitely where we're going to be leaning in towards and really activating people's data. There's so much good stuff in there.
Yeah.
And you can learn a lot about, like, you know, you've got your different segments built. How are they changing over time? Like, what's happening in that? And
Yeah.
that's really hard to track at the moment. So
Yeah.
something like this is, really exciting, and we're excited to bring it out for next year.
And I think, Ari, you know, you've touched on so many aspects like personalization you were talking about before, making sure that you're thinking about retention, loyalty. What people need to realize is that all of these things need data,
Exactly.
and they need data that is easily accessed,
Yep.
easily accessible, easily actioned. And it's not just actioned by one person, it can be actioned by a team, and that visibility is really important too. And that's where I think, you know, it's just an amazing product. Like you can't talk more highly about it, because I have never heard somebody say Klaviyo hasn't worked for me. Never.
That's true.
Never
I
once.
mean, I just feel like
100%.
everyone uses Klaviyo.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
you know,
like
if you
don't
if
come
you don't,
on.
yeah, like-
But all of these trends, everyone that, you know, every event that we're at, we're talking about these futuristic trends. It's like, no, it's here and now. Like you can achieve a lot of what people are saying is future state just by utilizing the right tools and technology.
Yeah, and it's not really a nice to have anymore, right?
No.
I think, you know, the customer expectation of what that experience should be is so much higher now than, you know, than even it was a few years ago. So, you know, we have to keep up with that. We're lucky to have the platforms again to do that. And so there's really no excuses.
Yeah, that's it. Heard it here first.
All
Right, now we go to our rapid fire questions. The first one is, what is your favorite product you bought this Black Friday, Cyber Monday period?
Yeah, it's mouthful.
Yeah.
I bought, you know, those beautiful Aceline travel books,
Oh,
coffee
yes.
table books.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is that they're the really bright colors?
Yes, and there's
Which
like
ones
Ibiza,
did you get?
I've got Ibiza. I just went, so I was like, go take me
A bit
back.
obsessed, yeah.
And the Amalfi Coast one, those books, amazing.
I love a
little
nice
touch.
bright coffee table book. I'm so monochrome with my interior, so
Yeah.
it's like the only time I will allow a pop of color into my apartment.
Is that-
Yeah, those books.
Yeah. What was your product?
Do you know what?
Yeah.
This is such a cop-out, but I was honestly so busy. I was talking to my team. We just didn't even really shop.
Did you get anything from
I was
Ksubi
like-
at least?
I always get stuff
Yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
Ksubi, and
Yeah.
my staff discount is actually better than like...
Hook
So
us
I
up, hook us up.
We'll have to get some kind of denim in that you can do a little...
100%.
trial.
Yeah, we need to
Hey,
review that.
I'm all for reviewing denim. You know why? Because I'm 6'2", guys.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I could start a channel just on
Yeah.
tall girl jeans.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's do
Totally.
it.
Yeah.
Seriously, if you've got long legs, because most denim is like, but Ksubi, I love Ksubi. I've been buying Ksubi since I was 13 years old.
They are just the best quality.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so funny because I still have a pair of jeans that I got back in my high school days in New Zealand, and like had I not worked at McDonald's for 3 years and eaten too many cheeseburgers, I would probably still be up to wear them because they are
Love
actually
that.
still hanging and they look great. No worse for wear than probably when I bought them.
Yeah.
So, but we forgot to shop, unfortunately.
You'll have to make up for it. There'll be there's many more sales. Boxing
Yes.
Day sales.
My
you
time
know,
will
yeah.
come again.
Yeah.
I'll have to set a reminder for Boxing Day. This
I
time.
used to work at David Jones, and the thing that we used to tell people is if you want to clean your jeans, you put them in the freezer.
Oh my gosh, yes, I've heard
Is that-
that too.
Is that true though?
Yes.
We used to tell everyone.
Apparently, it just disinfects
Yes,
them
we did it.
completely.
Yeah.
But then I just feel a bit funny, like having
Jeans in
denim
the
sitting
freezer?
in with my frozen
Peas,
peas and ice.
And ice cream,
Yeah,
yeah.
with your magnums.
If it
I've,
works.
I've heard a few things around denim though. It's like
Yeah.
don't wash
Don't
it,
wa-
do
yeah.
this,
Yeah, yeah,
do
yeah.
that, and you're like, I don't know.
Do whatever
it feels
works for
weird.
you.
It feels weird not
do
washing
you,
your
boo.
denim.
Yeah.
Apparently, it stretches half a size
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, yeah,
That's,
yeah.
I mean, who knows?
No, it was true. Did you
Yeah.
buy anything cool?
Oh,
Oh, you're like,
Just
the
you
list.
wait.
Let me get the list out. Yeah.
You know, every year I say I'm not going to participate in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then as I'm there
I know.
in
They
bed,
get you.
Yeah.
You've got to
They get
support
you.
your
scrolling on
customers.
Instagram.
Exactly.
I know. The thing is, I want to support the
All
I
of
want to
them.
support
At full
my-
price.
At
Yeah.
full price.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm like
Appreciate
one of
it.
those people, but
Yeah.
but it gets me every time.
Yeah.
What did I buy? Oh my god, so many, and they're all still coming through. But my most excited, the purchase I'm most excited about.
Yeah.
Wait for it, guys.
Oh,
I'm
Ooh,
now.
drum roll,
I'm now. Yeah.
have a drum roll.
Do we have a drum roll? It's gonna be really.
Should we
actually-
just pick one?
It's gonna let everyone down.
I know.
It's going to be
Oh my
like an
goodness.
elephant or something.
No, like
Oh,
okay.
no, as in the noise.
As she can go and like do.
I
the,
actually
do the
have
clap.
bought an elephant before, a small gold one. His name is Bruno.
Oh,
my God, we love
it.
cute.
It's very cute.
Anyway, I'm now a plant mum.
Oh god.
Yeah, I'm now a plant mum.
Oh, yeah?
and I bought.
Oh,
Sorry.
Jesus Christ.
I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, go.
I bought some plant shine spray.
Oh, so you sprayed on the
Shine
leaves?
sprays.
So you,
That's
shiny.
ridiculous.
Yes. And you're
And a
so
glove.
excited. Yeah.
Gotta
And a
be the
glove.
strangest
You
purchase.
put the glove
Yeah.
on.
Nah.
You put the
I
glove
think
on
you've
with some
taken
leaf
this too
shine.
far.
Way too far.
I-
Who's looking at your plants that deeply?
Me.
Sure,
Every
you
night.
do work at home. So.
I honestly, I've never been more excited about anything in my
Wow.
life. And this Instagram ad just got me. But also bought stuff from Camilla and Mark. I bought stuff from. I actually bought this.
Oh,
This is
cute.
Skims.
Ooh.
Oh,
I
yeah,
love
you love Skims.
I do
yeah.
love Skims.
Yeah.
Mm.
I bought stuff from Milligram for my dad.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
Bought
It's
some
such a good
pens.
idea to stock
Stock
up
up.
pre-Christmas
I
and do
know.
your
100%.
shopping.
His birthday is 30th was yesterday, so I was like, "Yep, sure, may as well." So I bought a
Perfect.
lot.
You bought heaps.
I bought a lot
Nice.
from different things, but the plant spray was my most excited.
Nice.
Yeah.
I bought a sauna cover. You know, you asked me about the sauna. I bought a sauna and then I wasn't supposed to put it outside. It's on my balcony. So then it started to get a little bit damaged. So I bought a like customized cover for it,
Oh.
rainproof.
Love it. Sauna cover.
The day before, I said, I don't know whether like I feel as though if this gets a bit wet and it
Yeah.
might if it rains.
Yeah.
I said to her, I'm like, it's gonna rain this
Yeah,
week, so
everyone
be
warned
careful.
me, but I was
And
too
then
excited.
she's
I just
like-
wanted my sauna.
She's like, oh yeah, I
I
will
feel
the
like you
sauna.
still win the wettest purchase.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm crazy. I buy shit for just no reason.
Well, now we know that's true.
Yeah. Okay, next question. What brand do you look to for inspiration?
All right, I'll go first. Lululemon.
Mm.
Yeah, they're just a god tier to me. I
Yeah.
just particularly love their customer service.
Yeah.
That experience. Obviously, the quality of their products.
I
Obsessed.
live in the Align
Yes.
leggings.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mm,
I
I
have
know.
so
So
many
comfy.
pairs.
Yeah.
I just never
Rotate.
don't have a pair
Yeah.
on the
Handy.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the wash, no
best.
problem.
The
Yeah.
shorts,
Yeah.
the leggings. Love them.
Yep.
I definitely love the global success story of Zimmerman. I think
Yes.
you know, there's such an aspirational brand from where they started to
Yep.
where they are now. So, you know, it's been amazing watching that journey.
Mm-hmm.
I love the product as well. Obviously, it's so unique, and it's just incredible to see how much that brand has grown. So, I love that success story. But then, from a shopping experience perspective, I love Revolve. I love Farfetch. I also have a thing for Dior shoes. I love my
that's a
little
nice thing to have.
sneakers. And they just have the best clienteling. So
Yeah.
every time they have like a new sneaker or espadrille or slide come out, the girl that I normally deal with, she will send me a text message with a photo of the shoes. And, you know, it's nothing that couldn't be achieved via a standard, you know, personalized email campaign. But I think just getting that message from Annie and knowing that, you know, she knows what I like, that they've got a new style, it definitely hooks me. And then I feel obliged to respond and we
Love
start
that.
talking about the shoes and
That's
then I need
smart.
to buy them.
Yeah.
Although it's funny, I have a colleague and he was just like, I just want some perfume. Was walking past the Dior store. It's like, I'm going to buy a Dior Sauvage. Great perfume for a man, by the way. Cologne, whatever you want to call it.
It is. Love it.
And he walked in there and he's like, I just want to buy that one. And they went through this process of trying to understand more about him. He's like, no. I just want just want the clone. And they're like, okay, we've got a gift wrap it for you. He's like, no, don't worry. Like, I don't want to give it. And they're like, oh no, we've got a gift wrap it for you. It's so funny because you can understand why they're like, no, this is the experience.
But it's like read the actual body language.
Yeah. They're like, we're going to tap in, dig deeper. You're like, no.
Yeah.
DBL people. All right. What is your favorite book or podcast at the moment? Or all time?
I love this book called How Brands Grow by Byron Sharp.
Amazing book.
It is one of my favorites, and it's one of those books that I just keep going back to because I love the way that I see it and like experience reading it again based on the brands that I'm working with at that point in time. I think, you know, it just covers off so much and it's very data driven and science based, which I obviously love. So everything in there is very well validated. So it's how brands grow, what marketers don't know. And I think, you know, there's just so many great little truths in there, amazing diagrams, amazing case studies. It's just one that I keep going back to and I get more out of it in different contexts and every time I read it. I have favorite chapters and it's a whole thing.
So good. Love that.
I haven't read that one yet, but I've heard it's very, very good.
Yeah. Kat, what's yours?
Oh, mine's going to be a bit rogue left field. I've just finished reading The Fourth Wing. Have you guys heard of
my
that?
friend read that a while
was
ago.
sort of talking
Yeah.
Is it like
vampires or something?
fantasy?
Dragons.
Dragons. Remember Anita was like,
yeah, dragons.
but
it's
it's dragon fetish. No.
yeah, but there's definitely some spicy scenes. Not with
That's what
dragons.
Anita said,
Not with
remember?
dragons,
Yeah.
with humans.
Okay, you're the second person on this podcast to mention that, so we should
Oh.
definitely read it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
If you're into like Hunger Games,
Yes.
Harry Potter even, like
Yeah.
like fantasy.
I'm a
sort of thing.
huge HP fan. So
Oh,
I watch
yes.
them
Harry
all
Potter?
every year before
Me too.
Christmas.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
you'll-
nice.
And my
If
Gryffindor
you knew,
too.
if you were a Harry Potter fan, you know what HP means.
Yeah, just clarifying.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. Okay, last question. What is one piece of technology you cannot live without?
Don't say Klaviyo.
No.
I would have to say a CDP.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh.
I honestly just think like it enables the business so much from an insights perspective, but it is also so actionable at the same time. I just get so excited talking about CDPs, segmentation, and all of the capability. I love getting my team on board on that journey. And it's definitely my favorite piece of tech.
I love
that.
Apart from
Oh,
Klaviyo,
yes.
obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Oh, Klaviyo's CDP,
That's a
yeah.
given. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess I'm in a sales background, so mine would be the CRM. Like, there's so much
Yeah.
information in there, and you know you can't keep everything in your head. We try,
Very true.
we
try.
cannot. But yeah,
Okay.
that's
You're
obviously where I live and breathe in the day to day.
I love that.
Mine's
Okay.
Instagram now.
Yeah, you know when I first thought of that, and before you answered, I was
I
like
know.
a Kindle.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
exactly.
say my phone.
I would have said that.
Yeah, phone.
Yeah.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground, I tell you.
We have.
And you know what? We have these conversations all the time, but Ari, I've learnt so much from you
Yeah.
today around, you know, what brands have to think about when we're talking CDP or Klaviyo or whatever it might be. Anyway, let's move on to our next segment,
Yep.
which is favorite part of the day.
Review
Product reviews.
segment.
So this brand, Bishop Beauty, it's funny. I helped out, because as people know, I'm in partnerships at Shopify, and so I helped out with their site.
Oh,
one of the
nice.
partners with their site. And so Renee, the founder, very kindly sent me some products.
Amazing.
And I thought it'd be an amazing opportunity to review them because I've actually been using them and I really love it. And so context, I've had skin issues since I was like 13 years old. I've had acne twice in my life and have cured it. So I'm a skincare geek. Like I love my skincare.
Yeah.
You ask me anything, I'm all about the ingredients, all about like I go deep, right? And so whenever I see a product that has an innovative or new ingredient that I've never heard of, it always pricks my attention. This one here was interesting for me because it's using something called sea cucumber. Now, I've actually never, I know it sounds crazy, but
Can I Google it and see what
Yeah.
this thing
Sea
looks like?
exactly. So sea cucumber,
What is a sea cucumber?
when I
keep
cucumber
hearing
with an
sea
I.
sea cucumber. This is the thing. It's actually not a commonly used ingredient in skincare. But when I went into it, it's actually an amazing
Oh my god, guys,
power
look
ingredient.
at this thing. It's not pretty.
It doesn't
Oh.
look like a cucumber. You're getting it.
Okay, it's okay. Not the most prettiest looking thing, but incredibly rich in minerals, incredibly rich in naturally occurring collagen, which is great for wrinkles. It's great for redness. It's great for pore minimization, and so it's a bit of a power ingredient. And so I was like, okay, we go and try this.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're trying a new product and you hear somebody go, your skin's looking really good lately. What are you using?
Yeah,
You know
something's
good.
Yeah.
And this is the only thing that I've added. It's actually the regeneration serum. That's the product that I've been using
Nice.
primarily.
Use it
Nice.
at night, morning.
I'm using it during the day because
Yeah.
you'll see
Oh.
it's like I also love how this is not paid, by the way. Yes, we sent, but this is not paid.
yeah.
You
Oh
can
my
see
God.
you can
Wow.
see the glow.
Oh my gosh, it feels
You
It
can
kind of
soft.
feels
Yes.
like sea cucumber-y
That's
because
what
it's
I mean.
so
It's-
silky.
It feels like
a sea cucumber feels
Well,
It doesn't look like it feels
sometimes
nice.
try them, like she does her pot lips.
it feels like moisture. You know what I mean?
does.
No, that is very
And
cool.
Oh my
and you
God.
look at it, you look
It's
how
very
it kind of
lubricating.
yes,
Yeah.
and it sits underneath your makeup,
It's
and it
such
just
a
gives me a
nice,
really nice
light
glow.
scent as well.
Yep.
That's lovely.
And so
Oh, it's got stem cells.
Stem cells.
Ooh.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Some
Oh, and
What's the price point of
hyaluronic.
this?
I am so obsessed with
hyaluronic.
hyaluronic. It is
Hyaluronic
my
acid.
absolute fave.
it's
I'd
got
like to know.
squalene
Do you know
in
how
it.
much it is? Is it
Boosts
like a
cell
higher? I'm gonna have a
turnover.
look. It's cool. I like that.
Yeah, really.
And it comes with the little foamy thing.
So it doesn't. This
It's
here is
such a beautiful
It
bottle.
does. Free
It's-
konjac sponge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
oh.
Okay.
Know your products.
Sorry. But
And what does that do?
well, this is actually meant for when you cleanse your
$2.39.
face. So it's a natural exfoliator. I
Damn,
don't
mate.
personally
Feel.
use a
So-
konjac sponge, but
Oh.
it's
Do you
naturally.
know what? I actually got one from the pharmacy this week.
Oh, there you go.
Just saw it and I was like,
Oh.
Is
Yeah.
it is the J silent? Is it konjac or is it con? It doesn't-
Cognac,
oh wow, it's
konjac.
it's hard.
Cognac?
Yeah, but that.
No, that's
So you're not
alcohol.
gonna just FYI, this here you use for cleansing your face.
Cleansing.
So you're
Right.
not going to apply these products with that.
Nice.
That is
what yours
a
feels like?
no.
That is for
mine's
basically
probably the cheap
Softer.
pharmacy version.
yeah, removing dead
Yeah.
skin cells.
I'm gonna
That's really
put
good
some on
for.
my face.
This is you just want to put it as part of your moisturizing routine, right? So really good.
Yeah, that's lovely.
We've got
very
the. You guys can have a play around with these ones here.
Oh my
too
god, my
if you
hand
want.
feels so
Oh,
hydrated now
I
that
know.
your hand
Yeah,
feels
it
lifted.
does.
It does.
You've got. This is the anti-aging cream, which I
Oh.
also really like.
We all need a bit of it.
Yeah.
After
And
this
again.
month,
Yeah.
we definitely do.
This is the calming cream.
Yes.
Oh
So
my
the
God,
calming
I
cream,
just need
the
to
calming
sit
cream is a
and
lot
sniff that.
thicker, so that consistency that is really good for anti-aging, really good for hyper moisturization if your skin is dry.
Yeah.
But if you've got oily skin, that's probably not going to be
I'm good.
the right product for you. You'd want to go the anti-aging cream. Look how much I know about.
Yeah, I was like,
these.
is this your
I know. It's actually not.
Face.
I just love researching ingredients and products
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
find something new. So
Totally.
I thought
Yeah,
it was a
it's
great
nice.
brand, you
Yeah.
know,
Love
to come
it.
on and review. So
Pleasure.
question, if you were the founder of this brand or owner of this brand, what would you think about in terms of marketing the product or creating a campaign or branding or, you know, influencers? How would you go about advising them?
One thing that I love with skincare and also pet food is the subscription option. I think, you know, again, like going back to those cues and the digital body language piece, what frequency are customers likely to purchase. That does not really change with skincare. Similar to pet food, you need to buy it at certain times throughout the year and at a certain frequency. So I feel like for me, I'm always so busy, and I obviously can't forget to get pet food for my dog or buy my skincare. So having that subscription option is just great. I know exactly when I'm going to need another round, and to just know that it's going to get delivered as I need it is so handy. So I think definitely looking at options to set something like that up for your customers to opt into. I've seen a lot of brands doing this lately, and also offering a bit of a discount if you do sign up to that subscription model. So, if you're signing up to that, you're obviously planning to be a loyal long-term customer. So getting a little bit of love back there in the form of a discount or, a free sample when that comes out is a really nice thing to do. And it also just means that, you're going to have that standard communication with the customer as well. I think with products like skincare, there's so much opportunity, like as you've just demonstrated, Hannah, to talk about the product. What girl doesn't love hearing about the benefits of the skincare products that they're using? So I think, looking at ways to create that communication with the customer, whether it's an educational piece, a talk with the founder, and kind of taking it just outside the skincare, you might want to talk about health and wellness and things like that, and just really creating that great content for the customer to engage with through your CRM program. So with the likes of Klaviyo, you can easily set up those weekly sends that are a little bit more content focused. With skincare, obviously, you're not going to be buying it every week. So how do we still keep the brand top of mind when we know the customer's not going to be needing to purchase it for, another 3 months or so?
Yeah,
that's such a great point.
You know what I get delivered? Subscription? Toilet paper.
Oh, yeah.
Who gives a crap?
Mad.
The best.
So
I have
good.
this weird thing about being out in public, carrying a thing of toilet paper. I just feel so embarrassed. So getting it delivered for me is essential. I won't not be seen dead on the street.
I know.
Just with your little bag.
Toilet paper doesn't fit in my shopping bag. So
Totally.
I walk to Woolies, so I'm literally walking down the street with toilet paper.
That's the real walk of shame.
Yes.
What flows would you set up? That
is such a hard
I know. Give me a flow.
No, but with skincare, I think this is a really interesting one because people have different types of skin,
Yes.
right? So this is where you could tap into that. Like, for instance, you mentioned like this one's not good for oily skin, Hannah. What type of products would be good for that sort of customer? So tapping into that profile level data, particularly with skincare, and then what recommendations would be suitable to them.
Yeah.
Really create that conversation. Oily skin, dry skin, there's
maybe
a lot
even
to play
like
there.
a quiz to
survey quiz,
first party data and
Yes.
I love doing a little online quiz and
Yeah.
then being told what I need to buy.
I know, it's so
Me
good.
too.
Like, tell me what to do.
I know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love online quizzes.
Yeah, same. Amazing.
Questions about me, I love it. Yeah.
Very cool.
Anyway,
Guys,
Thanks,
thank you so
guys.
much. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you once again to Klaviyo for sponsoring this episode. I think we love talking to tech providers who have an intimate relationship with their customers and clients and genuinely want to see them succeed. So thank you for bringing that to the table and bringing Airi, who really has brought that dialogue to life and shown us those real life examples of how to use Klaviyo to grow your business and sharing all the amazing insights with us. It's been
talking
very
about
cool.
it.
Yeah. It's been great.
I know. I feel like we could go on for another hour.
We could.
I know. Round 2.
Yeah, but we can't. Thank you guys, and we'll chat with you soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my hands feel so smooth.